Hello, guys, and welcome to the best sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. My name is Michelle Expert, and I'm your host. Now, I want to start by asking you this question. Have you ever had a bad review for your business where you went all the way out, you offered a service or a product, and somebody came back and they said this was crap? They didn't like it. It was the worst experience ever. Or you were really trying your luck and it really didn't work out for your good. If you are this kind of person, or rather you've been getting successful reviews and fear that one day a bad review is going to come, today's episode is going to teach you how to deal with bad reviews. Now, bad reviews are normal to a lot of businesses, so it doesn't mean that when a bad review does come into your business, it's like, now you're crap and now the business is like terrible. No, it just means that there are certain things that we didn't get right that we can definitely get right, but how you respond to them is so important. So, how do you deal with bad reviews? I'm going to be sharing with you guys basically two ways or scenarios that is going to help you understand bad reviews, and then we're going to get into how you can actually deal with them. Now, let's really just start by talking about reviews as a whole, right? It is important that for any business, you encourage people sending you reviews or testimonials. You have to have some form of system that is going to help people give you more reviews. So, for instance, when people purchase from you, do you have some form of system that says, please do give us a review or tell us how you experience your product with us or your service with us to help other people along the way also make a purchasing decision with us? How do you actually ask people to send a review? That's the first thing. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is that you basically don't ask people to send reviews, and the only reviews that are more heightened within your business are going to be the bad ones. Because, guys, honestly, no matter what service or product you're giving to somebody, there is going to be one person who might not be entirely happy about what you're offering. And if you let that person be the only person that is sending a review on your Google platform or on your social media, it means that you haven't been able to collect good or just collect reviews overall. Because if you encourage reviews, what ends up happening is that out of 10 reviews, you might get one review that is going to be a bad one, but the other nine might be a good one because there is already some form of a system where people are sending through reviews. So please encourage people to send reviews. Now, how do you do that? Because sometimes it's cringy to say, well, please post a review on our social media. Please share with us this. There is a certain way that you're able to ask for a review in a way that is not too pushy, that is not too beggy, but that also entices people to send you a review. The first thing you might want to do, for instance, is incentivize a review. So, for instance, if you want people to send a review to your business, what you want to do is you want to say, if you post or if you share your experience with our product or our service, you get a 10% discount on your next purchase, or or the person that you send, you can send this discount code to someone else, a relative, a friend, and they can get a 10 or 15% discount. I promise you that 10% off your product or your service is so good for you, especially if you've gotten an amazing review for a client. Because we live in such a day and age where sometimes, especially if you're selling things online, people want to hear from other people that have experienced you first for them to make a purchasing decision. That's why if you start trending for the wrong reasons and you're selling a product, people might end up not buying from you based on what other people are actually saying. We live in an environment where a lot of people want to see the proof of what you're selling having worked for someone else for them to make that purchasing decision. So you need to create an environment or a space that enables people to do that. So number one is you incentivize. Number two is you make people giving a review something that is also beneficial for them. Yes, an incentive is also beneficial for them, but maybe this time you make it beneficial for them in an emotional way. One of the things that I always encourage a lot of my clients to do is you say something along the lines of, please let us know how you've experienced your product so that you can help other people make a purchasing decision should they be looking for a similar product. So what you basically are saying is, please come and be part of this community and also help other people that might be looking for the same services make a purchasing decision so that they know what they're kind of getting when if they want to work with us or if they want to consider us to work with them. When you put it that way, it makes it so much easier because now people feel like, actually, I'm not doing this for you, but I'm doing this for other people. And the mistake that we make mistake very often when we're asking for reviews is that we make it about us. We say, please tell us how much you love our product. It's like, I haven't really experienced your product, so why would I tell people how much I love our product? Especially if I bought, I'm also wanting to try it out. But if you say, we appreciate you purchasing with us, please do let us know your experience with it to help other people make a purchasing decision. You make it a community thing more than you make it a you thing. And you will see every single time you make something a community thing or for the benefit of others, people are most likely going to take action to that call to action, mainly because it's not about you. It's not about making you as the business look good. Essentially, because they see you as somebody who wants to contribute to the community, what they will end up doing is they will end up leaving a good review anyway if they've experienced a product in a good way, because when they do that, they know that actually I'm not doing this for the business, but I'm doing this for someone else. And that way also people start giving constructive criticism as opposed to this was crap. But people will say something along the lines of, I really enjoyed this and this was amazing. I would just only add one thing, or I would add this to doing that. But they will be more constructive, they will be more collaborative than they are just like washing down or just raving about the product or the service in a more undirected way. If you are somebody that buys online, you can tell when people are just like putting a piece of a review just because they've been asked to or they've been incentivized. There's no emotion to it. It's like, oh my God, this is great. Like they're just overindulging, or what's the word? It's like they're just being a little bit too extra than they should be, and it's not genuine. And even as you read, you can see that. But you want to be able to have people give reviews or testimonials for your business or your product or services in a way that is more genuine, that is organic, and that allows other people to also connect with them. So that is a good way you can actually ask for reviews. You would obviously want to do this every time somebody purchases with you, even if it's via a phone call. If you've got all the time and you're running a small business, I promise you, you will not lose anything by investing in a bit of airtime or being able to call that client and say, hi, you just purchased this. Thank you so much for your purchase. You purchased this 2 days ago. Have you tried it? What are your thoughts? We are collecting a lot of feedback from our clients so we can better our offering. What else would you have differently? And once they talk to you about it and they give it to you, say, oh my God, this is so awesome. Please can you put it in writing? Please can you pop me a WhatsApp with what we've just chatted about so we can also help develop it. That way, you're asking them to do this in a way that also helps you build a relationship and in a way that also helps them collaborate as part of the business. And sometimes, especially as a small business, there's no harm in being able to say, we actually would love to know your experience with this so we can improve and so we can do it better. Because that way you've got constructive criticism. And also, like, people just feel like, oh my God, you want to learn, you are so awesome. And then they just want to say all the great things to you about your business. So that is very important to consider every time you think of how to ask people to give you reviews. All right. And then the second thing is, once the reviews come in, you must engage with them organically, right? I know a lot of companies, every time somebody comments on their platforms, they have this like robotic AI response that's a bot that just says, oh, thank you for getting in touch with us. What would you like? And I think those things are helpful, especially as the business does grow. But if you're a small business, you cannot risk having something like that, or you cannot risk having AI at the moment, especially if you can't invest into like the premium AI versions. You cannot literally risk that, or a bot to communicate with your customer that currently still wants attention and that is still trying to figure you out and that is still trying to do business with you. So it's very important that even if you don't have a community manager, you set time aside to respond to those comments, to respond to those reviews. Maybe AI is like a point of entry to say, thank you so much for sharing this review with us. We definitely would love to engage with you. Please do leave your number so that we can get in touch with you. Maybe you get AI to do that, and then you set time aside where then you are able to give those people a call. You're able to respond to say, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing this. But you're able to attach emotion to it in a way that helps you connect with your customers much more. That is so important. And even if the review was bad or it was good, it is going to help you so much because people feel cared for. Now, this gets into how you can actually turn a bad review into a good review or address a bad review. What I want you to understand is that people are not sending a bad review, or there is no bad reviews on your business because your business sucks and people don't like you. Okay? It's not the case. People want to feel seen. As long as somebody, and I know this is contrary to popular belief, and a lot of people might not truly understand this. And yes, this might not apply to 100% of the people, but I need you to understand that as long as a customer is still coming back to you to let you know how crap the service was or how terrible something was, it means they still believe in the brand and they still want to purchase from you. I honestly can tell you, and you can probably reflect for yourself and remember that there were times where you purchased from somebody or a business and they let you down so bad that you didn't even bother going back to them to tell them how crap it was because you didn't want to ever experience them again. But if you still wanted to purchase from them, you would still be able to go back and say, hi, I purchased this and this and this, and I did not like one, two, three, and actually giving them an opportunity to rectify it. Think about the relationships in your life, right? Sometimes people in your life, it could be partners, it could be friendships where you don't see eye to eye. If it's a relationship that you truly care about, you go back and actually talk about the things that went wrong and talk about where you are, talk about your feelings, and try to address it so that we can find common ground and move forward. It's the same thing when bad reviews come into your business, or at least that's how I want you to think of them so that they don't beat down your confidence. And that's how I want you to address them, is you have to look at it as this person actually cares and this person wants to interact with me. Imagine if people walked into your shop or experienced your staff members or whatever touch point you have in your business and it was so terrible and they didn't tell you. You wouldn't know, because as your business scales and it grows, sometimes you're not going to be there all the time. You're going to have to trust on the people that you've hired to undertake certain tasks and responsibilities so that your business can move forward. Now, if they are giving terrible customer service and people are not saying anything, you're basically running your business to the ground. But if people are putting up their hands and they're sending reviews to say, this is bad, we did this and this didn't work out, and etc., how are you going to improve if people are not going to do that? So you have to have a different relationship with criticism. And I know that for a lot of small business owners, it's so hard because you think to yourself, oh my goodness, people hate me. They said, no, 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 no. People just want to feel seen and people are invested in buying from you again. So when a bad review comes your way or somebody posts dissatisfaction of your product or services, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, number one, engage them, right? Every time you are unhappy with somebody, imagine somebody did something wrong to you and then you summed up the courage it takes to go and tell them what you're unhappy about, and then they just dismissed you or they ignored you. It makes things worse. People want to feel heard, especially when they're unhappy about something. You know this for yourself in your relationships. So why do you think it applies any differently in your businesses? When somebody comes to you and they say, this didn't make me happy, or I wasn't happy with ABC, this and this is actually what's going on, what you then do is you engage them. You engage them calmly. Sometimes they might be very heated because they did spend a lot of their money to invest in the product or the service that you're offering, and they're unsatisfied with it. What you then have to do is engage them, and you engage them by being empathetic and by being calm. So you apologize for the experience that they had. Even if maybe it was a misunderstanding, even if maybe they didn't follow the instruction of what you sold them, because those things happen where people misunderstand what your product or service actually was about. They had different expectations that they were not met, and then they come down on you. That's still okay. You still have to address that in a calm manner. You still have to address that with a bit of authority as well. So you address them calmly and you apologize sincerely. And what I would even do is when I address them, I'd say to them, tell me what actually happened. What did we get wrong? The more you engage someone, the more constructive you sound, the easier somebody can easily feel cared for and they can calm down. But if you come across and you're just like, you don't speak to me like that, and although sometimes customers can be very disrespectful, but it's in how you respond that will determine where the conversation eventually ends up. So you engage them and you let them explain, because I promise you, somebody who's feeling hurt really wants to talk about their feelings. Give them the platform to. Give them the opportunity to fully express themselves. And until they're done, you're able to firstly apologize for where they are, and then maybe start dealing with the actual issue and realize, okay, maybe we didn't communicate the expectations for this particular product or this particular service, and then you begin to clarify. But whether or not they are wrong or you are wrong, what you then want to do is you want to turn the situation for your good. So what I always recommend a lot of people to do, I was an Agenda Woman, which is the best platform for any woman trying to build any network and grow and just be in a space with like-minded women. And I was a mentor there, and one of the ladies actually asked me she literally asked me this question, is how to deal with bad reviews. And the thing I said to her, she was talking about a restaurant scenario, right? Which is when somebody posts a bad review on Hello Pita. And I said to her, what you then do is after you've heard them out and addressed them, you then say to them, I'm so sorry that the steak was, so terrible. That's not the standard we want to uphold ourselves on. I would love the opportunity to redo this experience for you. Please, would you come to the earliest of your convenience back to the restaurant? I'd love our chefs to make another steak for you, and I'd love for you to try it out because I think we would love to get this right for our business. And I know that if we get this right, we would have helped a lot of other customers that might not have told us about them. So you are inviting them back to say, I want you to try it out. Please, please, I know this was terrible. I want to redo this for you, but also for our business. We're a small business and we're trying to grow and would really appreciate that. It's so constructive that people feel like actually these people have heard me. They've acknowledged their mistakes and they would love me to go back again. And then when they come back, you make it extra special for them. I promise you, even if that steak is still the same as they had the last time, this time they're going to experience it differently based on the experience that they've had with you. Do you see that? It becomes different because now you've engaged them versus you just saying, well, okay, we're so sorry about that. Then you just let it be. They're not going to come back. Chances are they will not come back. But if you invite them over, yes, it's a free meal. It's going to cost you something. But I can promise you, you will build a relationship with that customer. They will end up coming over and over again. They will start telling everybody about how awesome your service is, about how amazing your restaurant is or your spot is or your service is because you've just engaged them. Right. And sometimes maybe they came on a bad day, but how you respond to them becomes so, so, so important. And I think the most important thing, which is the last point I want to make to you, is use criticism to turn things around for your business. Right. In as much as a lot of people may associate with it in a negative manner, I want you to realize that sometimes that criticism enables you to see the inconsistencies in the business. So with the steak example I gave you, maybe that day the chef was having a bad day and he burnt it a little bit. And truly the customer wasn't happy because it was a little bit burnt. You get to see what inconsistencies are existing in your business and then start finding ways to mitigate them in a way that is going to save your business. But when you don't do that and you attack it from an emotional point of view, you then realize that you actually miss out on an opportunity to improve your business. So bad reviews are not personal. See where you can develop. Speak to the customer intently and say, okay, I'm so sorry about this. Was there anything else other than the steak? How was the service? How was the service from the moment you walked in the door? Because you might find that the steak was okay, but maybe the waiter had an attitude which essentially then turned everything down. There is this analogy that we are given a lot in the sales industry, and it's called the coffee stain. It's called the coffee stain scenario. So the coffee stain scenario is basically that if, let's say, a customer is boarding a flight, right? And as they board a flight, they were having such a great day. And literally, the flight attendant comes to them and they offer them coffee. And as they're handing coffee to them, they spill the coffee on the outfit. And depending on how that flight attendant responds, it will determine the entire flight. Say the flight attendant just goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And then doesn't really treat it with care. What then happens is that entire flight for that person is ruined and that mood is gone. So if you give them an opportunity to give you a review, or if they go to give a review for that flight, they're going to say the flight was terrible. It didn't smell great. The flight attendants were bad. The line was too long, because automatically the point of entry to this experience was so bad that it didn't give them the opportunity to see the good out of everything. So sometimes it might not have been the steak that was a problem. It was the entrance it was the fact that they came into your entrance point of the restaurant and they waited for 10 minutes until somebody attended to them because you guys were so busy. So initially from the get-go, the experience was bad. So by the time they then found a place to sit, they didn't like their waiter already, because their waiter was busy with so many other tables, and then from there their food was delayed. So of course by the time the food came, the food was terrible according to them, because the point of entry and all the other steps following that were not with great experience. So it's important to keep these things into consideration. But if you are trying to run a sustainable business, you need to realize that your emotions don't matter. The facts matter. So when the customer comes to you with facts and their emotions attached to facts, you don't respond back with emotion. You respond back with empathy, and then you deal with the facts, and then you begin to grow the business. That is how you deal with a bad review in your business. I'm also very curious to know, how have you dealt with bad reviews in your business, or bad people coming to you and telling you that this was crap and this was terrible? How have you dealt with it in the past? If you are watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to it, let me know in the comment section, because I really want to have a broader conversation around this, and I want to hear from you. How have you dealt with it? Maybe some people can learn from specific scenarios that you have used in your specific industry that are going to change the game from other people. But I hope that this episode was so fruitful and it helped you a lot, and that these nuggets you're really taking apply them, because like I always say, you can listen to this and it can make you feel so good and so powerful and all those amazing things, but if you don't apply it, it will not do anything for you. So my encouragement for you is that you apply each and every single thing we share on each and every episode that we release. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to this on Apple, on Spotify, or whatever digital platform you're listening on, we love you guys so much and we can't wait to see you on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.